opportunity to incite insurrection against you. The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of the prophecy is fulfilled. A spark was all we needed to turn smoldering anger into a flame. Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, when something like that occurred, you would likely flee the scene and head to Poisson by yourself. So, we arranged for a second group to lie in wait there.
So, you mean the ones who scoured the settlement?
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally participate in the greatest—
That's right. That house was a magic box, rather than someone's residence.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed at the Opera Epiclese, the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and Araneas. Its cargo, of course, was an Archon instead of a human. My thanks, Farina. Without your help, we could never have pulled off such an extraordinary performance.
You're welcome?
Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora to pull this off. We had to select a location, construct the giant magic box, dig a tunnel, and open up a path through the water. It was a lot of work for all of us.
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt—
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and Cloran's part. You gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that the champion also that as soon as I appeared on the stage—
Yes, that is correct.
Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage. Only—
Thank you.
As for you, Traveler, you'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived onto the stage.
Oh?
It's fine. It matters not. What the stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through to the very end.
Sir Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this along. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share with you during the trial. According—
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Hey, Charlotte! Oh, Leb Hymansi. Isn't this the exclusive— Wait, then that means this document is a perfect timeline of everything that's happened ever since we stepped foot in Fontaine! So in other words, we can refer to this anthology of evidence every time we want to use something from our journey as evidence for an argument! Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, alright?
You defeated the Hydro Archon in the very first duel you took part in at the Opera House. That's one for the history books, all right. This is the first time Monsieur Nervilette had a difference of opinion with the Oratrice. I nearly lost my awesome friend Navia. To be honest, that still gives me shivers. The words of someone as extraordinary as a witch can probably only be truly understood when something surreal happens to you. The fortress of Meripede was almost destroyed in a single day. That I didn't witness that scene personally will always be a source of professional regret, I think. According to Monsieur Nervilette, both Child and that whale should have been in the primordial sea at that time. A Fatui Harbinger. She's an extraordinary person. Her instinct must mean something. This is the first time Monsieur Nervilette had a difference of opinion with the Oratrice. Even the Hydro Archon can't figure it out. I didn't think that you'd wind up getting to the bottom of the case I'd been following all this time. I guess you could also see this as a happy coincidence.
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, Nervilette. There's no need to repeat all the unimportant legalese. Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. As the defendant and the lead actress of this performance, I still haven't even been informed of my... Of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle to understand...
That's true. But my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Wait, what was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for forsaking her duty, but did I hear that right? She's not our Archon at all?
Charge accepted. Lady Farina, do you plead guilty to the charge? Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be anything other than your true Archon.
Yeah. Even though Lady Farina can be rather eccentric, isn't it going too far to doubt her very identity?
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either. Sure, Lady Farina can be super irresponsible, but what grounds does that prosecutor have to make such a huge claim?
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born. There would be no fooling their memory. See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its favor. Are you sure you want to? If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you will not have to face trial for making a false accusation.
An argument with near impossible odds, huh? We have to not only refute Farina's claims, but also overturn the long-held beliefs of the people.
Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. If you must persist, then and if I was not the Archon...
That doesn't sound right. First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended lifespan. And second of all, even if that wasn't the case, there could be other ways to extend your life.
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd sink so low as to use a harbinger's words against me.
A curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might naturally resemble a type of curse. But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity, but a curse after all.
Nervilette sensed it too, huh?
Lady Farina. Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell humans and gods apart.
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I have been carrying a Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. Gods can do what humans cannot. That's why they're worshipped as God. For centuries, manifestations of my authority have served the nation of Fontaine. One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very opera house, or consider the indemnitium that is used in every aspect of life.
wanted to reference the Oratrice. But weren't you as confused as all the rest of us when the Oratrice declared Child to be guilty without any proof?
Make myself clear at the time. The decisions of the—
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of your current circumstances is in order. While the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before all else. While you are an Archon, you are also first and foremost the defendant in this trial. You will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if you continue to withhold vital information against the rules of the court.
I never thought you'd use that kind of rhetoric against me.
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina. I've merely reiterated the rules of the court. Rules that all should respect and follow.
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, nor did you understand the structure and operations of the Oratrice. Instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned have been made by the real Hydro Archon, haven't they?
The real Hydro Archon. Well, now it is true that I did not know why the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally. And it has been operating independently ever since it was first created. You can't argue that just because a divine creation is flawed, that the god—
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses. Seems like she's confident that we won't be able to produce proof that—
My power as an Archon. There are—
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared to extend my protection to the audience.
You don't need to go that far.
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you can't even wield the power of Hydro, much less the authority of a god?
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their power from the faith of the people, and I've converted the people's faith in justice. Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide everyone with energy for their daily lives. Have you ever seen a more magnanimous god?
Isn't that?
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power? It
seems like nobody's buying Farina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone. Please, I'm still the same Farina you knew, right? Please, you've got to believe me.
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really has committed a grave offense.
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents too?
Enough. That's enough. Tell me then, if you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence—
Wow, she came up with yet another argument. That does— It has been established that all Fontanians can dissolve in water from the
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here.
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court. Though you act in partnership with the prosecutor—
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. I swear this really will be the last time that I'll speak out of turn. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck the area not long ago, including those— So, Miss Farina, if we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, but if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more people dissolve. I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler path of admitting guilt.
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed Poisson for many years. I guess her suggestion is valid.
If Lady Farina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontanian like all the rest of us.
Lady Farina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution. As it falls outside the realm of standard court proceedings, you possess the right to decline participation.
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to participate is basically the same as a confession of guilt.
She's just staring at the water without saying a single word.
What's going on? Is she really planning?
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady...
Hey!
I'm fine! Look at me, Will you believe me now?
Miss Siegewien? If you're present, Miss Siegewien.
Siege?
Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few seconds.
Please announce the results of your...
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation and flushed skin. She was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater.
Thank you, Miss Siegewien. Lady Farina.
Oh, wait. What did she just say? I didn't get to...
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did... However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve. We don't want anyone else to lose their life to the sea.
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample and asked the head nurse. It's a great thing that the direct sample was...
I can't believe... You... Listen to me, everyone! Please don't give me such cold and disdainful looks! What happened just now didn't prove a single thing! Think about it! How can you conclusively prove that an Archon... Also, if I was really just a human, why would I dig... Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me! I swear, I really am your Archon!
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. The odds are just too stacked against her now.
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think there's any way...
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. She's too stacked against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is... guilty. We shall now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final verdict on the charges. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Farina is...
Well, what's wrong? What's the Oratrice's verdict?
No, the Oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Isn't that correct, then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus. The Hydro Archon, guilty, to be punished via the death sentence.
The death sentence?
That's actually one of the available sentences? I've always thought that it was just a myth.
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court, and it's been given to the very person we've worshipped as the god of justice? What an unexpected twist.
Furina's been sentenced to death by the Oratries? We just wanted to use the trial to show her the seriousness of things so she'd tell us the truth. How did things escalate this quickly?
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, as well as its recommendations for criminal sentences, is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Yeah! Even Vacher wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratries. You know, the real evil mastermind behind the serial disappearances.
Indeed. Not only is Furina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was also to prove that Furina has never been the Hydro Arch, but now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydro Archon. What does this mean?
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial still going?
Fremine! Huh, you finally made it.
Mm-hmm. Any mission Father assigns to me.
Is that the first prophecy slate? Huh. So the knave privately arranged for—
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. But has the trial already concluded? Then...
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to review the record left on the slate. Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates, and would like you to come here and confirm their contents.
Huh? So what do you see? What is it?
I believe I've now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime. It has to do with Fontaine's lost history.
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? Oh, wait, no, that's Furina, and we've already proven that she's not the Hydro Archon. So when you say Hydro Archon, do you mean the real Hydro Archon we've been kinda talking about?
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced back to the contents of these stone slates. However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of the other 3 stone slates. Paimon will do her best to help you remember. The first stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro Archon using her divine power, and then the Oceanids turn into humans. Does that mean that Fontainians are transformed Oceanids? Oh, Paimon wasn't expecting that. But if Ocean... The second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky, and the Hydro Archon and her people worshipping it together. But this must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontainians were branded with their original sin. The third slate shows the Hydro Archon sinking into the sea surrounded by many people. That reminds Well, the first slate is the prophecy the Fontanians have been talking about. People dissolving into the sea, the Hydro Archon crying on her throne, and so on. We didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first, did we? But after that incident, it was just a question of when and not if.
We know from the first stone slate tells us that long ago, this might be the reason that Fontanians can dissolve. Perhaps what is about to take place has all happened before. The true sin of the Hydro Archon that Nervalet mentioned, and the original sin cast down on the people of Fontaine by Celestia, as recorded on the stone slates. It's not as simple as falling into the sea. The stone slates show the people gathered around the Hydro Archon in the sea. Could that be alluding to the same thing? The prophecy from the stone slates found its way into society. But the fortress of Meropide was nearly flooded with primordial seawater, which we know can cause Fontanians if we hadn't dealt with it in time.
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the seawater, converge, and take the form of an ocean. The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Perhaps this means that her sin was actually Fontaine's original sin. Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by the people of Poisson in a court within her consciousness, and was forced to take part in a trial meant to make her stay. The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meropide was the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass no matter what. The stone slate's content can all be verified by recent events. If we combine what we know together, loads of truth should come to light. It now, so that's how you can make sense of it. But then it feels like we're going to have to share some truly shocking revelations.
Let's hear them.
Incredible. We're not real humans.
All Fontanians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon, with Oceanids as their basis. The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontanians could dissolve in primordial seawater, and how all the girls Vacher dissolved were also turned into Oceanids. Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around for a trial, all of them in the shape of Oceanids.
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that she probably angered Celestia by creating humans without prior permission. That could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon to be guilty. It's to account for that ancient sin.
The Hydro Archon's true sin was creating us?
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the Opera Epiclese. The twists of history are often the most unexpected of all.
Yeah! Isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled in the fourth slate? In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away. Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is impressive that you've already managed to connect so many pieces of the truth. However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also been etched with an additional layer of hidden information using a different power source. When we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information recorded in the slates. But now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to decipher the narrative. I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontainians and the sin of the Hydro Archon were both correct. In the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon their desire to become of a similar kind. However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon, as one of the seven, did not possess the authority to create a new form of human life. Not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars by appropriating the power of this planet's primordial sea. She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanids' blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics in the process. But if Fontainians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints and return to the sea. As a result, their forms would collapse, and they would be reverted to their original forms as Oceanids. Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race. And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the people of Fontaine first came into being.
So we were all Oceanids before we turned into human beings?
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going... Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death?
This really might be too much information for your rate.
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. The slates' respective positions are, in fact, correct. A key point of the visual on the third slate is how all the individuals depicted in the water, they have not been dissolved, which implies the nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of trials and justice. Instead of being the literal element, the water in the scene symbolizes judgment. You may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, therefore, that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon at the court of justice. Yes, it refers to our present situation.
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, even in truth, everything we've done has happened—
What should we do?
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled.
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth—
Traveler, I would like to point out another small... About the fourth slate. You probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the... However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, as for the root cause of the catastrophe, This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come. We must find the root cause of the disaster.
It was both dream.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that...
The truth, The original...
That was way too close! How did that thing just burst into the Opera House? Wait, was that the huge whale you saw in your dream?
So we've met it at last. I understand that whale does not belong to Tevat. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, and once it has finished consuming all of...
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of Fontanians. Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a packed opera house full of food.
We just barely managed to push it back, right?
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. From the way he looked, he must have been fighting the...
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but we definitely didn't expect it to help us out like that. Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of the...
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before... Even if the...
We've already done... We've come so...
Indeed. That's...
I'll fight it to the end.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will be fulfilled. Just as prophecies ultimately
What's happening with the oratories?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Farina! No, I still need answers.
You...
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing. I couldn't help myself.
You are not Farina.
Ah, the sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive everyone was a resounding success. But to answer your question, I am Focalor. You know, the god.
Focalor?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool everyone else too, if I was to stand any chance of the heavenly principle.
Deceiving the heavenly...
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. That's the former Hydro Archon Egeria, for the uninitiated. It hardly gets more disastrous than a preordained national catastrophe. She knew full well that the prophecy would surely come to pass. And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly principles at one's peril. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather impossible situation that I found myself in. I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I was almost growing barnacles by the time I finally realized there was only one possible solution to this confounding conundrum. I had to outwit the heavenly principles, allow the prophecy to be fulfilled, ostensibly at least, while saving everyone at the same time. I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Egeria chose me as her successor. Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of saving the nation, the quotidian duties of the Hydro Archon, and not to mention the original sin of creating a new race of humans, I dare say she left me quite a colossal mess to clean up. But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose to be one of her Oceanid familiars.
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed into a human by Egeria's hand?
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. In my eyes, to be human is to be part of the greatest opera ever known. After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past self on her first day as a human being. The me you see before you now is that divinity. And the human counterpart I left behind, I named Farina. She could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as vain and conceited, or as meek and vulnerable as she wished. Her strengths were of a kind only a human could possess, as were her shortcomings. But in my eyes, Farina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human in every way. The person I always wanted to be. Anyway, so then I cursed her. All part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive the heavenly principles. Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? The Hydra Archon alone, weeping on her throne. In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Farina to be an actress, to play the part of the Hydro Archon in the prophecy. Under the curse I placed on her, so long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she free to live her life in the pursuit of happiness. Instead, She was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace the role of leading lady, to forever play the part of the god from the prophecy, all to create a deceitful appearance of that prophecy coming to pass. I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called the Opera Epiclese.
But Farina is only human, isn't she? Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any other ordinary human being. I cannot begin to fathom what she has...
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me, and it's been and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, and agonizingly painful opera of all time. Oh? Who permitted you to come onto the stage? Now, I understand your admiration for my august self, but I must ask you to keep to the rules. All right. It is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to state your name. Just be off with you. Do not distract me from my performance. Oh, do not jest. Can you not feel it? I am Focalor. The eyes of countless Fontanians are upon me. I must, at all times, display the utmost elegance and nobility. Dear audience, the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon enough.
Burn it down!
Carving waves!
Oh!
Ho!
Hey, what gives? The audience is still watching me, you know. Guards? Wait, where are the guards? Guards!
Amazing!
That's up! Farina. Farina. Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where are you? Be not nervous. Be not afraid. I am before you. Wait a moment. You're mirror me? How can this be? Mirror you, huh? You know what? That's not bad. Let's go with that. Mirror me. What do you wish to say? The prophecy. Have you heard of it? What prophecy? Wait. I know. I don't know why, but it's in my head somehow. The people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away. Oh, very good. You know it well. What's going on? I can't... Yes, it will. And that is why I've come to you. Disaster will come to Fontaine sooner or later. Things will develop just as the prophecy declared. But doesn't that mean everyone will die? I'm a Fontainian just like them. Will I dissolve too? Oh, don't worry. Magical meetings exist in this world precisely to give people a chance to turn things around. It is the reason why you met me today. I will tell you how to save everyone, but you may have to suffer somewhat. Oh, so there's still hope after all. As for, but if the prophecy will come true, if there were scales, with all the people of Fontaine on one side, and my pain on the other. I suppose this would also be the justice that belongs. Huh? Don't worry, it's nothing. Listen well. Play as... That's right. You must begin if you can keep it up, then I shall have my way of defying this prophecy. But how will I do this? Don't worry. What you must... Being a human yourself, I'm sure you already know. Remember, your true challenge will not be pursuing divinity, but contending against humanity. I'm still not sure I understand, but I'll try. So, how long am I going to have to play this role? To accomplish this mission, you will have to stay on the stage for many, many years. You will endure and not grow old until your task ends. But I promise you, all will eventually end in a magnificent and dramatic trial, and everyone will be saved. A trial, huh? How exciting. I'll be looking forward to it. The Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession, but this is my first time facing the people. What should I say to most appear like a god? Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and welcome. I'm sure you've all heard about how I have taken on the role of Hydro Archon. In truth, I know little about becoming a nation's new god, but it will be my honor to guide you all. As the god Focalor, the god of justice, I shall do all within my power to lead you into an age of fairness and justice. Once again, thank you all for coming. If you should have any questions or suggestions, please send them to the Maison Cardinalise. The future of Fontaine will require us to work together, after all. This should do it. I thought I might stammer, but thankfully, I was able to convey my thoughts just fine. Okay, and next.
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity would be a bit more assertive.
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions there at the end.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest. What's the difference between her and an ordinary person, then?
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen. She might just be a Maison-back puppet.
Wait, what's going on? Why is everyone suspecting me of being a fake? Oh, this is bad. If I get exposed here, there'll be no saving the people from the prophecy. Right. Mirmi said that I just need to play the role of a god as humans imagine them to be. Calm down, Furina. Think. What do the people want? How would they imagine a god to speak and act? Assertive, with a strong sense of presence. One who can dispel all doubt. That is the character I'm fated to play. Oh, very good, my... Now, I was wondering if some weak pup... Well, it seems that you would all see right through them. You may consider my previous act a dork. Now then, let us be reintroduced.
Ah, so that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were inside an opera house?
Her personality. It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before.
Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful! Our future may yet be bright after all.
It seems I've turned them around. Best follow this flow and restart my accession speech. My dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, keep faith in your ardor for justice. We have heard it said that this nation's sins can no longer be washed away. Well, I say that justice is most fragrant when it blooms amid sin. No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want me to play. No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want me to... No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want... No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want... No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want me to play. No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want me to play. No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want me to play. No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want. No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the. No. Play. The scales of justice should not weigh heavy in the hands of its god. On one side, it must carry fairness and justice. And on the other, praise and applause. May law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. Let us light the fires and drink to the future of Fontaine. No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want me to play. No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they. No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they. There is no trouble in this world that justice cannot solve. All that is needed is for you, my people, to believe in it, heart and soul. So long as I, the Archon Focalor, stand within the Opera Epiclese, so long as I stand before the Oratrice, I shall even judge the gods of this world!
Lady Farina, here are today's case reports, as well as a summary of the follow-up for your perusal.
Come now. Was I not just at the Opera House in person? Leave these kinds of things to Neuvillette. Besides, none of these trials were the one that I'm looking forward to the most.
If I may be so impertinent, what kind of trial are you—
A magnificent, dramatic, and wondrous trial.
That's true, I fear I lack the ability to grasp your divine thought, lady—
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now, do your duty.
Lady Farina, I don't know what to say. Thank you for agreeing to see me.
No need to thank me. Or rather, thank your own sense of perseverance instead. Long have you stood in line to meet me, have you not? Oh, I'm afraid that's just an inevitable consequence of my divine— All right. Deuteria, is it? How is your son's illness?
You remembered me, and you knew of my family, too. He is doing much better now. In fact, he is far more of an ardent believer than I. He was the one who forced me to seek an audience with you, and to bring your words back to him.
Oh, good. Very good. If this should happen again in the future, please do not hesitate to come and tell me. Going down to citizens' homes every so often, while not usual practice, should serve as a fine change of pace.
Ah, you're such a gentle and wise god.
Lady Farina, here are the latest hydrological reports. As for the specific parameters you asked to take note of, I'm afraid things still don't look good.
I see. It's as I thought, then. As your god, I did already expect this, but I wanted to see how far your human wisdom would allow you to analyze it. All manner of signs indicate that the prophecy will still come to pass. Forget it. That's not something you need to worry about right now.
Well, as I understand it, the Fontaine Research Institute is also trying to find a way to counter the rising water levels.
Really? Have they found anything?
I'm afraid that they haven't found any effective solution.
Is that so? Well, no wonder. This issue has reached the realm of the gods, after all. Still, their spirit is praiseworthy. The day is finally over. I haven't had a moment to breathe this whole time. But it's good to see that everything's getting on track. There are no longer any voices of suspicion. Maybe this is fine. I just need to keep going, and everyone will be saved. All right, Farina, don't think too hard about this. You need rest. Tomorrow's a new day.
Lady Farina, here are the new trial reports for the latest cases, as well as a summary of the follow-up.
There'll be no need for that. I've seen them already. There's no need to go back over scenes I've witnessed in person before.
Lady Farina, I've waited so long for this chance to see you in this manner.
Indeed, my dear, loyal citizen. This joyous moment is an honor for us both.
Lady Farina, we're detecting significant hydrological anomalies near Poisson.
Understood. Keep monitoring. Keep me informed should anything come up at the Institute. I don't think I let anything slip today. I must show the people that there is nothing to worry about. I just don't know when these days will end. I feel utterly exhausted. Best to rest early today, too.
Lady Farina, it's like a dream being able to speak with you up close like this. I've heard that the first member of our family who was honored to receive an audience with you was Madame Deoteria, almost 20 generations ago.
And what a fine family yours is indeed. It brings me great joy to meet such a faithful believer, a descendant of a line most ardent.
Surely you exaggerate, Lady Farina. My lady?
What is it, good citizen?
Oh, are you crying?
Oh, really now? I didn't even notice. This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the god whose dominion is the waters, can I?
No wonder. No wonder. A manifestation of your power, then. Oh, Archon, I am honored to have witnessed it. Honored indeed.
So interminable. So lonely. Just how much longer? Hundreds of years must have passed by now. Perhaps the show must go on for hundreds more. I never imagined that it would hurt so much. Have I reached my limit? No. Perhaps I reached it long ago. Today I didn't even notice my own tears. I want to tell someone, anyone, about this. But would that not destroy all I've done so far? I've conducted so many investigations across. All I can do is keep heart. I must, Fontaine. Please, mirror me. You have to succeed.
Farina, you don't have to shoulder this burden alone. Although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone, your people are more than willing to share your burden with you.
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my duty alone.
But even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, you can still choose to confide in someone. Just share it with me. I'm what you'd call a witness.
A witness? Yes, I've heard that you came to Tevat from beyond the stars, yes. In other words, you never belonged here. And if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show on a stage, then you're just a spectator, aren't you? If that's the case... He's right. I could confide in him, couldn't I? But if things don't play out as expected, the people of Fontaine will be the ones to pay the price. No, Farina. You shouldn't be selfish. But what if it's really alright? Farina, you've worked so hard for so long. Surely it would be okay to put yourself first for once. Just this once. Is it such an outrageous thing to do anyway? To find someone in whom you can confide your frustrations and sorrows? Surely it could not hurt. If you let this opportunity slip through your fingers, it might never come by again. Think about it long and hard. No, I have nothing to say. I am Farina, the Archon of Fontaine. All you need to do, dear spectator, is to witness my...
Fine.
So even Farina doesn't know the truth? You've never once let her in on the full plan?
Yes, it had to be done. To deceive, she did very well. If she had let her resolve falter even once in these 5 centuries, Fontaine, it seems that trusting humanity was the right decision after all.
I believe that I understand how your deception works. But how would you build on this foundation to save the people of...
Ah, good. Of course, the Iudex of Fontaine has pinpointed the crux. I'm sure you've long sensed that the
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness. And Lenny did mention that he heard a It now seems that that person was you, hidden within the machine.
And then I became one with the Oratories, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes... It would seem so, wouldn't it? Alas, your understanding of this device... In truth, it is no enactor of justice. It is, in fact, a device created to kill the god of justice. Oh, you have it. And to be more precise, not only will the Oratories take down the god of justice, it will also take down the divine throne upon... I mean, did you think I would be the sort to enjoy peaceful repose while Farina suffered? My work over these last 500 years has been to constantly accumulate indemnitium within the Oratories. But really, some have already discovered that only a small fraction of the energy generated by the device was ever used to provide power to Fontaine. The vast majority had to be accumulated to enact this death.
It was all part of your...
Indeed. This power, accrued over 5 centuries, could have sustained Fontainians for millennia, had it only been used for that purpose. But only power of this magnitude could hope to destroy the Hydro Archon's divine throne.
So the Oratrice's call for death was for neither Farina nor Focalor, but... the destruction of that divine throne.
Returning what's rightfully yours to you, of course. In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydro Archon to the Hydro Dragon of this planet.
But...
Oh, what? Getting sad again, are we? The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O Hydro Dragon Sovereign.
All you've done throughout the years is just...
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, I'm quite pleased at how well... Hydro Dragon, don't cry. I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly principles themselves. Were they not guilty of essentially the same crime? Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea, and the heavenly principles stole the power you ancient dragons possess. I, for my part, am the god of justice. And is it not just? Speaking of justice, I have always believed that justice lies in the process of So, if the theft of the primordial sea's might was Fontaine's original sin, then, leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, the descent of the Fontanians as humans and their right to exist in this world would be Fontaine's original justice. In other words, existence was Egeria's justice, and to me, justice is the continuation of that existence. Defying the prophecy and ensuring that Fontaine's people shall live on, that should be the justice enthroned over all others. At this point, we, whether it be myself or all other Fontanians, have shouldered the burden of this sin for far too long. Iudex Neuvillette, the highest judge in our land, when you regain your full power as an elemental sovereign, what verdict shall you pass upon us?
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as Iudex, I see now that that was your idea too. At last, I now understand the true purpose behind this position. In the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living alongside them have gradually brought about mutual understanding between us. And I have even attempted to feel as they feel. You are a devious one, Focalors. Things being as they are, surely you know that I could never declare them to be guilty.
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, Neuvillette. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
Judex Novelet, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
What just happened? Has the death sentence been carried out?
Was that bright light some sort of misdirection? I have a feeling that something huge just happened.
But since we're all still alive and haven't been...
It's time to end this. We must mete out punishment to that beast. I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means, I now have the ability to separate the power of the Primordial Sea from that. We should seize the opportunity to pursue our quarry. Traveler, now that the oratories can no longer function, I require an executor to help me mete out justice. The root of the calamities befalling Fontaine. The beast that enacts the prophecy. Its name is the all-devouring Narwhal. Come with me, traveler. The hour of execution has come. Separate the power of the Primordial Sea from the whale. Considering the size of the beast, I cannot reach the power source. Unless we can find a way to attack it from within. I shall share a part of the ancient dragon's power with you. We shall look for an opening together.
Rev the engines! Wrath from the sky!
I can feel its sorrow turning into hostility.
Light it up!
Faster!
The all-devouring narwhal cannot resist its instinct to devour. Continue to trigger its hostility. A chance will present itself. Suppress its roots from within.
thanks for helping with the cleanup. It should have been my job, but... oh well. It was just supposed to be a short private training session for me. I didn't think that my disciple and my master's pet would start brawling in the meantime. Well, actually, I had a feeling that it would happen at some point, but they bumped into one another earlier than I thought. What a blunder. I suppose I'll have to swing my sword 3 million times as penance.
That power. Who are you exactly?
Paimon has an idea. From what she said earlier, she must be Child's master. Skirk, right? It's just that he gave us the impression that she was the less talkative person.
I simply did not have anything to say to the weak. But you, on the other hand, managed to defeat the all-devouring narwhal without using power from beyond this world. So you may speak to me as equals. I have to agree. It's a strange use of a planet's primordial waters just to raise an all-devouring narwhal. That kind of power is wasted on it. It's not cooperative. It eats too much. And I have more important things to do with my time than pet sitting. The only thing that creature has going for it is its looks. All in all, it fails as a pet.
Miss Skirk? I think you might have missed the point.
The point?
Well, being that this pet almost destroyed an entire nation. So what sort of person is your master? Well, Child's master's master.
Oh, right. So you don't know him. Sorry, I assumed you did. His name is Sir Taloji.
Huh?
I am unfamiliar with that name.
Huh. So Master isn't sufficiently famous. How should I describe him then? Have you heard of the name The Fowl?
The Fowl?
Still nothing? Well, how about the Visionary? Vetterfulnir then? Or Gold Rhindaughter?
Ooh, that one we've heard! Rhindaughter's part of the Hexen Circle. She's Albedo's mom, right?
Oh, so you do know that name. To be honest, I also heard all of those names and titles from my master. I don't actually know them either. But I suppose you understand now, yes? My master is likely a similar sort to Rhindaughter. They are both pursuing some form of perfection.
Wait! Didn't you also mention a visionary person? Paimon didn't quite catch...
Actually, never mind that. I believe it expedient to inform you that the all-devouring narwhal used up nearly all its strength fighting you. Such roiling hydro energies will prove difficult for the planet's deep seas to digest. As such, the fontaine back on the surface has most likely been thrown into chaos. In other words, the prophecy that you've been fretting over should now be in full swing.
What?
Not to worry. Focalor has already managed to deceive the heavenly principles.
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only Furina will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
Initiate emergency rescue!
is receding!
It's a miracle!
Water's receding.
We didn't dissolve. The prophecy was wrong. The prophecy was wrong!
Are you alright?
Yeah.
We're saved.
The prophecy was wrong.
The soil renewed. The Svina di Rasula tax post-disaster rebuilding. I recently visited Poisson to meet with Miss Navia, spokesperson of the Svina di Rasula, and we spoke about Poisson's present and future. Old soil can still give birth to new bloom, Miss Navia stated. Hope is like seeing a small cookie when you're starving late at night. You just need a little of it. Skyship Winglet, Booner Brain of the Fontaine Research Institute. The various disputes that have arisen on account of Mr. Edwin have suddenly become a shield over the Institute. Be a once overlooked hidden gem. People always call the first researcher mad, but few know what to call the second. And should that latter person achieve a miracle, they would find it all the harder to find a word with which to classify him and his team. Wow! Paimon barely recognizes the people in the reports. Are those really Jurier and Navia? They sound like real big shots.
What do you think? Pretty enthralling, huh? The Steambird's idea was pretty simple. With the disaster just having passed, we would print a free edition packed to the margins with good news to calm people down. The value for these big scoops lies in their inevitable follow-ups. We'll publish further reports and go into the stories behind those people. Edwin's assistant, Jurier, created a true flying ship, while Navia is leading people in the reconstruction of their home. I'm sure that these stories could draw even your well-traveled eye.
Paimon's curious too! Wait a minute. Didn't we watch everything happen?
And that's exactly why I'd like you to come conduct interviews with me. You're the best incubators of news, if you haven't noticed. And also, with you around, I'm sure I'll get to see that Duke.
Are you sure?
Oh, this time will be different. Come on!
Let's ride!
Navia!
Oh, it's you. What?
Hey, we're just having... I'm here to update myself on how things are going here. Oh, the Fatui are here too.
Let me introduce you. This is Mr. Garunt Snežević. He represented the Knave in sending us a large amount. Our residents are hard at work as well. Thanks to everyone, work is progressing nicely. We've lost a lot of people.
Hello, Miss Charlotte. I'm a big fan of yours. I especially like that article you wrote last year about Fontaine's stray cats. But if you don't mind, could you not emphasize our role too much in your report? It's not charity we're doing here. We just happen to share the same interests as Despina.
I get where you're coming from. I'll keep it as simple as possible. Or would you be willing to feature as friendly neighbors?
That would be fine.
Oh, you're back too. How are things?
We finished laying down the construction materials. It'll be another hour before the workers are able to go over there.
Huh? You're here too, Clorian?
Well, her reputation's greatly risen after that whole duel business with Miss Farina. So she's here in Poisson to wait out the heat. All right. She really came here to help me out.
There's too much to consider in the reconstruction of Poisson. The Spina has need of more decision-makers. And, well, I do already happen to be connected to Mr. Callis.
Oh, wait just a moment. Do you mind me asking a few questions? You know, about how you felt before the duel, about what it was like facing down a god. There's lots of exciting material there, I bet.
Forget it. I'm sure you can find a better theme than that, Miss...
I see you're the same as always. Couldn't you do me a favor, for Navia's sake?
Well, if we're talking about doing things for my sake, you might as well just take a few more photos of me. Or of the Traveler. It's better than wasting time persuading Chlorand, at any rate.
Of course I will. I'm not gonna let him off that easy. All right, then everyone who wants to be in the photo, gather up. And smile!
How did it go? Was it a good shot?
Not bad. Your addition really helped the composition of the picture. All right, hang on a moment. Let me snap a few more shots. All right, that should do it. I'll be back here later anyway, so let's call it a day.
You're very quick.
Speed is of the essence when it comes to the news, and freshness is the key. Also, not to brag, but I'm pretty good at building connections. Who knows? I might eventually get that interview with you after all, Miss Clorand.
Wow, you really do have that never say die spirit. I'm impressed.
I'll hazard a guess that this is how you got that interview at the Fortress of Maripede.
Whoa, you're well informed. Let me make a guess too. I asked Sijuin, who told Monsieur Nervillet, and he told you, right?
That's a very complete information chain.
In truth, all Monsieur Nervillet asked me was, I told him that it was best not to speak too soon.
You're right. I've got to treasure every moment I have with them. In which case, I'll be making a move first.
Stay safe now. And tell me if you hear anything interesting. I'll treat you to afternoon tea in exchange.
Full throttle!
Wow, guess we're here again, huh? There's a real nostalgic feeling to this place.
Looks like you've been missing us.
Duke! Did you come all the way to the entrance to greet us?
Of course. I'm here to welcome you and our dear Miss Charlotte, whom our good head nurse recommended to me.
It's an honor to finally meet the much-rumored Duke. Thank you for consenting to my visit to the fortress, sir.
No need to thank me. But that said, I shouldn't be the focus of your interview. I trust you recall our agreement?
Of course, of course.
All right then, this way.
Hey, no need to be so nervous. I've already taken all the photos we need.
Miss Shaw.
It would seem that Miss Lorvine doesn't want her face to appear beside that of Mr. Jurier.
Sir, please don't say things like that.
But it looks like dear Mr. Jurier denies it. Might this interview be—
No, I just... This is...
Now, I might not look it, but I actually did meet Mr. Edwin once. And I'll be honest, I enjoyed chatting with you more. You've definitely got more of that genius vibe going on. The boat that brought about a miracle. The ark that saved the people. Why, you recreated a myth back there, like an emissary of legend. Still, if I might ask, where's that flying ship?
Looks like Charlotte's
I have to apologize, but that ship is presently in the bowels of our factory. I'm afraid it won't be easy for—
Really? Well, then in that case, could I have an interview with you to make up for that loss?
You already know my answer, I'm afraid. Best you interview our head nurse instead. Or perhaps you'd like to take another photo of this couple of researchers?
Did you really have to use the word couple? Well, then, 2 solo photos will do.
Is my hair messed up? Please, someone help me have a look.
Things sure are getting pretty lively here. We've seen this Oh, seems like everyone's here. Would any of you like to try this new drink I came up with?
Ah, Sigewinne.
Hey, Miss Charlotte. Why don't you, take... sure. Come on, Miss Sigewinne. Over this way. Let's find a brighter spot.
Huh? Sure. Do I have to smile? So, how have things been at the fortress?
Same old, as you can see. Fontaine's undergone some changes, but...
Other than that flying ship, it got a tad too much attention, I think.
That's why I decided to let the interview go through. We should direct more public opinions toward the behind-the-scenes heroes. Am I right, Mr. Jurier?
You're too kind, sir. I believe that you too should have your day in the sun.
I'll just leave... I see. Lots of things happened that day, huh? Anyway, regarding that Harbinger, I'm not...
He sure did win the...
I'll tell them that there's good news and bad news. The good being that their boss seems fine, and the bad being that they must face extended sentences for abetting his escape.
Oh, actually, what about you?
What change can there be? The fort as to what Miss Farina's departure will mean for the nation, and if our laws and governance will be transformed, we'll leave those...
Hey, everyone! The photo shoot's done.
Good. In that case, let's call it a day here.
Thanks for your cooperation. Come on, Traveler, let's go.
There'll be a next time?
Maybe. Who knows? I might write a story about the underwater factory next time. All right. Last stop, the docks.
Try and stop me!
I didn't see them! They really are here! How did you know?
Navia mentioned that she stayed in touch with Linny and the others after working together. Apparently, they've been at the docks distributing these...
Traveler, Paimon. And Miss Charlotte, too.
Would you like a magic pocket?
What sort of gadget is...
It's a wondrous bag that can be used to carry many things. The water level has returned to normal, but if you see any of your things floating around, you can use this to carry them. Or you could trick a friend into doing it for you.
Trick a friend? I would...
You could just make a friend like Fremine here. Isn't that right, Fremine?
Is this what you meant by, I'll help you make some more friends?
To be honest, that sounds pretty sweet. Could I have your contact, please?
Sure.
Lynette sure is working hard to help Fremine socialize.
He was the one who proposed doing this. He even wants to assist in our magic shows.
Yes, I was planning to first introduce Pear as an assistant, and later Fremine himself. In the future, I think we can leave underwater escape magic to him too.
And that said, would anyone want to see a diver escape underwater?
Oh, it'll work out. Every journey begins with a...
Lynette, could you come over? Miss Charlotte says she wants to take a picture of us.
Got it.
My, that Charlotte is rather perceptive. She got rid of everyone the moment she realized I had something to say to you. So, how have things been, Traveler? Father says that you did a great deal during the latest events. She's very grateful for your contributions to Fontaine.
That's alright. We were more than—
Oh, I guess after Lady Farina left, Father and Monsieur Neuvillette opened negotiations, during which he gave Fontaine's gnosis to her as a diplomatic gift.
A diplomatic gift? A gnosis?
Yes, I was quite surprised at first myself. But when I thought it over, there were actually a number of things going for it. It could have been done as an apology for the incident with Lord Child, or as thanks for his help in tying the all-devouring narwhal down. Furthermore, Father did also lend significant aid to Fontaine and Poisson.
Well, that's true, but this is—
I would agree, but I've also heard that it seems that Monsieur Neuvillette has had a
so there's some reason for this that only Neuvillette knows about?
I suspect you'll have to ask him about that yourself. Ah, yes, speaking of which, I did see him strolling around the entrance to the Fortress of Meripede a while back.
Isn't he real busy and stuff? Paimon didn't think he'd have the time for that. But back to the topic. The gnosis was given to the knave, right? What about Child?
They say that he's returned to Snezhnaya to recover from his wounds. I hear that the recent disaster really did a number on his health.
That's true. When you think about it, we've had loads of run-ins with the Fatui. To think we'd be allied with them this time.
So shocked by such a simple switching of sides?
Father!
Well, what do you know? Come to the docks to see how my children are doing and meet the Traveler by chance. Please do not pay my accomplishments in Fontaine too much mind. I would have done them regardless.
Are you going to take the gnosis back to Snezhnaya?
That is our duty as harbingers, yes. Don't be too preoccupied with sides. The goal of the Fatui concerns not a single place or person, but the entire world. With such a grand goal in mind, it is inevitable that we must wear many masks. Switching my masks is something I've always done. Well, that depends on many things. No one truly knows what the future holds. What good is honesty if you can't rely on it forever? As for you, I very much look forward to our next collaboration. Good things cannot be achieved alone, and you've proved yourselves to be great partners. A vision? All right. I'll remember to return it. Thank you for keeping it safe for him this entire time.
And that's a wrap for me. Huh? You...
Greetings, Miss Journalist.
Hello. If I'm not mistaken, there are diplomatic channels I'll need to report to take a photo of you.
That is correct. So forgive me, but I will not be able to serve as a subject in your article. However, feel free to write as much as you'd like about our dear magicians. And our upcoming rookie talent.
I will.
The sea breeze is quite pleasant. I shall continue my walk while the weather remains so agreeable.
Farewell, Father.
Oh, she has such an intimidating presence. I didn't even dare to take a picture. Thankfully, I've already wrapped up all my pre-scheduled...
Don't be too nervous. Why don't you take a magic pocket before you go? Here, Traveler, Paimon, you take one too.
To move things about?
That's right. Funny. I was giving out magic pockets when we first met too. I guess this must be life. All right then. We'll be handing out pockets in some other districts later.
Well, guess we sent Charlotte off. Shall we go see how Neverlette's doing?
Full throttle!
Rev the engines!
The entrance to the fortress! Ooh, he really is there! So, you really are here, Neverlet! Paimon didn't think you were going to have free time this hour of the day.
Really? Oh, I suppose you must have met Mr. Linney. He took the time to greet me earlier when he passed this way. In any case, you came at a good time. I was just considering reaching out to you to set up a meeting, so I may explain some things that I haven't had the time to before.
Aw, Paimon's glad that you remember. Alright, let's have it then. How about...
It is strange how words can often leave a bitter taste in the mouth when it finally comes time to say them out loud.
Whoa. So that's what happened? Focalord destroyed the divine throne of the Hydro Archon and restored your power to you, transforming you into a fully fledged elemental dragon. But Paimon still doesn't quite get what you did to save the Fontanians from dissolving.
For me, the authority of the ancient dragons refers to absolute control over the hydro element. Fontanians were incomplete humans born of Egeria's use of the power of the but so long as those primordial energies remain within them, I could use the ancient dragon's authority to grant them true blood, after the fashion in which life was first brought into being on this planet. In other words, when I gave my verdict, Fontanians became true humans, and thus would naturally no longer be dissolved by water from the primordial sea.
Focalord must have counted on you to make that decision as well. Your verdict was the key to making the prophecy appear to have come true while saving everyone. Yeah, and in a manner of speaking, Focalord finally managed to fulfill the original Hydro Archon's wish to turn Oceanids into real people too!
It seems from your expressions that you still have more things you wish to ask. Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it. I have investigated his case along many avenues, and I have learned that he once fell into an unknown chasm when he was young. There, by chance, he awakened the all-devouring narwhal. But whether it be by sentiment or reason, that should not have been enough to consider him the root cause of the disaster. At most, he would have had tangential liability. As for the judgment passed by the Orich, whether it was due to that liability by association or Focalor deliberately using him to buy time for us on the assumption that he would be able to hold the creature off. I cannot say.
Guess Focalor had Fontanians in mind the whole time. In the end, it was thanks to her that they finally became real hang on a second. Paimon suddenly got back when Fontanians hadn't yet become real humans. Were the children they had also transformed Oceanids?
Life has always flowed like water. Do you recall how Fontanians would often come to the Fountain of Lucine to pray for children?
Yeah! Lynette said the fountain is where all the waters in Fontaine converge.
In truth, even those couples did not know that such prayers were no mere custom. Those Oceanids who were blessed within the spring water would later descend as new...
Paimon sorta gets it now.
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Yeah, about that. Risley said Farina has already left.
Ah, Lady Farina. The people are only aware that her death sentence has not been carried out. She abdicated the post of Hydro Archon and left affairs related to that title to me, before leaving the Opera House. I related Focalor's words to her faithfully and completely. After hearing them, she seemed neither saddened nor comforted. She simply said that she was tired and needed to rest. Having said that, she then packed her things and moved out of the Opera House, not unlike how an ordinary person might.
But she's still got a place to stay.
You need not worry. I will make arrangements to ensure that she... In truth, I am somewhat happy for her. The wear and tear on her spirit will, of course, take time to heal. But now that she no longer has to play the role of Focalor the Hydro Archon, she can finally lay down her burden.
What about you then? What are your plans?
After Focalor passed on, the Oratrice also ceased to function. This matter will directly affect our trials. After much...
Looks like you're still
As an elemental dragon, there are indeed many things. As such, before I attend to my other responsibilities, I must... Additionally, the Hydro...
That's true. Wait, but the various mechs and machines in the city are...
As I am now, I have full command.
Wow. This ain't...
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Oh, that's right! They say you've given it...
Leaving aside their intentionality, the two Fatui... Their sole remaining goal in Fontaine, at least at this point, would seem to be the Gnosis. The Oratrice has ceased to function. The Hydro Archon's divine throne is now no more, and I do not need the Gnosis's power. As such, it has lost all meaning for Fontaine. If the Fatui have impure designs, then we might as well accede to their request now, and avoid unnecessary conflict.
What complicated considerations? Paimon thought you were just giving it to them out of gratitude to the knave and as an...
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it. You will soon be heading to Natlan, I presume. I'm afraid that I have little talent as a travel guide, so all I can do is tell you what I know about that land. As far as I'm aware, Natlan can be said to be a nation of dragon.
A nation of dragons?
No, I suspect that I would not find myself welcome there. Unlike ancient dragons such as myself, the dragons of Natlan have undergone long years of development and evolution. Natlan is also the nation of war. War ravages those lands like an undying flame. There is one other piece of information I got incidentally from my negotiations with the knave that I believe the harbinger known as the Captain has thrown his hat into the endless ring of war.
The Captain. Sounds like a real tough customer.
I suggest that you fully prepare yourself before going to Natlan. Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Hang on a sec. When we spoke to Linny earlier, he meant we guessed that there might...
No wonder the House of the Hearth is the Fatui's intelligence division. So regarding this specific issue, I would... In truth, I exchanged some further words with that lady named Skirk after sending you two back to the surface. It went something like this.
Well, we're going to head topside to see what's... Whoa!
What next?
The all-devouring narwhal isn't here, so I'm no longer getting any interference. I can finally catch the scent of your power, what it's made of. It is the authority of the planet's primordial dragons, but with something very similar to a god's curse mixed in. It's quite a novel blend. I'm sure I've encountered something like this before. What was it again?
I do not know what you speak of.
Ah, of course. How could I forget? You should have the remains of the third descender on your person, yes?
Remains? I've never heard of any such thing.
Huh. According to your parlance, I believe it may be called a gnosis.
Well, that much is true. After Focalor's divinity faded, she handed her gnosis to me, but I fear I have never heard of it described in the manner that you just did.
I've been training with my master, the Foul, ever since I was young, and I have never returned to the surface since. So most of the information I possess, I got from him. It is only natural for those who are greater than humanity to possess a different sort of common sense, which is why there are so many problems in our attempts to communicate with humans. Regardless, you should probably get rid of objects of misfortune to prevent any disasters from befalling you. To live in itself is a blessing. But once a person dies, the bonds he once had with this world shall all turn to curses.
What do you mean?
No need to fret. These are just my personal thoughts.
This third descender you refer to, who are they? And when did they die?
Master never mentioned them to me. Perhaps it just wasn't that important for me to know. If you're interested, though, I could ask him. I'll be sure to pass the answer on to you next time.
Next time? You believe we will meet again?
I do. Wait. I have a disciple of my own, don't I? He can be the messenger, then.
That's what she told me. Whether it would prove useful or not.
The remains of the... So that's what the Gnosis actually are. Paimon just thought they...
All the same, assuming that there was no misunderstanding or special metaphor at play.
And she said that it would bring misfortune and that you should check it, which is why you gave it to the Fatui.
If she speaks the truth, then I would simply be putting Fontaine at unnecessary risk by keeping it here. I had guessed that you might already be familiar with this concept, but I did not expect you to be one of them. That means that the Gnosis, which are exceedingly element-compatible and can even enhance elemental abilities, do indeed come from the third descender. I wonder, does your body also possess similar properties?
Like being able to use... No, let's not think of comparing the Traveler to the dead third descender and all. That's what you say, but this topic still feels like bad luck. Once child recovers...
I too believe it unwise to make too many blind guesses when information is lacking.
Alright, whatever the case...
Yes. All...
But she sacrificed herself in the end as a god, and she suffered through all those years as a human. Was that really what she wanted?
I suppose that would be the mystery of a god's will. I suspect not. But once in a while, I too would guess that if wishes were like the clouds in the sky, they will one day return to the earth as raindrops. Life flows like water, and rain is the final answer. The water levels may sometimes tilt one way or another, but the rain falls fairly upon all. And what, ultimately, is the difference between the rains that fall upon all of us?
Hip.
Full throttle!
To be quite honest, you likely know them better than me. However, their nations continue to survive and thrive to this day, and that would be impossible without strong leadership. Once this chapter of Natlan's history comes to a close, I plan on strengthening our relationship with other nations, so that Natlan can continue to grow. Oh, my hair? Don't worry, these are friendly flames. They won't burn you or incinerate anything. Although I think our enemies will find that it's a bad idea to play with fire, if you know what I mean. For humans, visions and ancient names are both gifts from the gods, where the former bestows elemental power and the latter spiritual inspiration. However, I have always believed that no external factor is a condition for greatness. Heroism comes from within. Many people find her strange or difficult to get along with, but this is how I see it. Seatlolly doesn't concern herself with trivial matters, but she's always there when it counts. I'm sure you've seen that for yourself. She's someone who can easily tunnel vision and get herself embroiled in trouble, so I try to keep certain things from her, but she can see right through me. She's too sharp.
I'm very grateful to Nervilette for all the hard work he's done for Fontaine in the past few centuries. It seems he doesn't intend to investigate my crimes of deceiving the people. Anyway, we're no longer working in tandem. And it's been a long time since I've been to the Palais Mermonia. I imagine that this is good for both of us, right?